What's your favorite scary movie?
A dark, scary night, kind of like tonight.
Where are you gonna go? Where are you gonna run? Where are you gonna hide?
Do you wanna die tonight?
Where we're going, we will need eyes to see.
Good evening, Slasher fans. You're here with a brand new episode of Slasher Studios Horror Podcast. We're going to be having 2 episodes this week. Tonight, we're going to be talking to Austin about his brand new movie, The Producer. And we'll be back on Thursday with our regularly scheduled show to talk about our next letter of horror, which I don't even remember what we're on. I think we're on F. No, G. So we'll be back on Thursday to talk about that. But in the meantime, we're going to be talking to Austin Bosley about his brand new movie. It looks like we got him on the line, so we're going to patch him in now. You there, Austin?
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Not bad. How are you?
Oh, not too bad. What are you up to tonight?
Chatting with you about the movie.
Pretty exciting stuff. So, about The Producer, your brand new film. Before we kind of go into the Indiegogo and all of that fun stuff, just tell everybody a little bit about yourself, your connection to Slasher Studios, and then we'll kind of jump into the movie from there.
Okay. Well, my name is Austin Bosley. I'm a filmmaker. I live in pretty much Los Angeles, California. I made a feature with Slasher Studios that I directed and played a small part in called Dismembering Christmas. I'm sure your listeners have heard of it. But yeah, I knew Kevin through the internet, through Twitter probably or something like that, and we met up in Wisconsin and made a movie in the middle of frickin' January in the freezing cold. And it was a good time.
Yeah, it was a good time. I definitely know with this new one, you're not going to be having, well, knock on wood, won't be having so many climate problems, but
yeah.
So your new movie, The Producer. So tell us all, I guess before we get into kind of the movie itself, what kind of generated this idea and what made you decide to make this movie in particular?
It's actually kind of a combination of a couple ideas that I had for a long time. A lot of it now, like the sort of final product or what the final product is like moving towards, because obviously it's still going to change when we're shooting a little bit. But it's a lot of it is kind of rooted more in, I'm trying to think of how to say it, kind of rooted in like things that like I've dealt with my life, just like frustrations and things like that. But it's a sort of a horror version of that. So if my life was interesting, but yeah, it's a combination of a few ideas that I've had for a while that I kind of figured out how to blend, and the story just sort of unfolded itself. It was really cool, actually. It was really exciting, and that's why I was like, you know what, I'm just going to make this, because it just kind of came together in my head, and then I got the script written pretty quickly, quicker than I usually do. And I was kind of happy with how it turned out. I mean, I'm working on another draft of it now, and I'm sure it'll go through some changes before we shoot, which is hopefully supposed to be in August. But, you know, the story's there, and it's going to be, I'm excited about it. I'm really excited about this one.
Yeah, I mean, I read the script a couple of weeks ago, and I was a big fan of the script. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to kind of see the final project. What I think is most interesting about this movie, and maybe this is something you can elaborate on, is that, I mean, it's about a filmmaker, but at the same time, there's this kind of element or this kernel of an idea here where it kind of follows somebody who's not quite sure what they want to do with their life when they're kind of like in that passing stage of like, okay, well, I'm no longer a teenager. I need to kind of grow up, but am I ready to become an adult? And that kind of coming-of-age story was actually one of the most interesting elements of the script that I found. I really liked that a lot.
See, I appreciate you saying that. See, everyone I've talked to can describe the movie better than I can. Like, you make it sound way better than I would have made it sound. But what you said isn't untrue, obviously. Like, all that stuff is in there, and that is what the movie is, which is like part of why I'm so excited, is because I think it has all the cool horror elements that I like to see, but it has like actually a pretty good story to it, which is something that in my scripts that I'm writing, like, I'm always trying to find that balance. And I think this one has a pretty good balance of both character drama and horror. I don't think it gyps you on either one in favor of the other, if that makes any sense.
No, I completely agree. I mean, as I was reading the script, like, I actually got so kind of involved with the characters that I was like, I don't know if I want this to become a horror movie. But, I mean, at the end of the day, especially with a horror script, that's kind of the best compliment you can get.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. I'm actually really glad, by the way, because we're talking about this, because like I haven't really talked to a lot of people about this other than like close friends, and it's kind of fun that it's me and you, since the last movie I made was Dismembering Christmas with you. Like, this is cool. But yeah, I like that the movie is sort of, in a way, kind of a coming of age thing, and the main character, she's dealing with like who she's going to be or how she's going to grow up. And it is about a filmmaker, but the movie's not about filmmaking, which I've tried to explain to a lot of people. Like, it's a movie about a filmmaker, but it's not about making a movie. It's not really focused on the filmmaking aspect as much as it is this person who has this dream or this goal, and they're trying to achieve it. And I think that's relatable for anyone, even if they're not a filmmaker, you know?
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. I mean, that's kind of one of the, like I said, like one of the most interesting elements that I found of it, you know, not to sound, you know, pretentious or kind of that over the top, but I mean, there is definitely, you know, you want to, as a filmmaker, get this movie made, and that's kind of a metaphor for just kind of college life, or just like life in your early 20s, where it's like, I need something to show for what I'm doing, and I think that's kind of something that everyone can relate to.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, that's kind of how I wanted to play it, because, you know, a lot of times I think movies about filmmakers or about filmmaking are looked down on. I mean, I always like them, but I'm into filmmaking, so, like, that's a given. But that's something with this, is I really wanted it to not be focused so much on the filmmaking, but still make it about a filmmaker, just because it's a world that I know, and it's a world that I know I can cheaply portray, because I have all the equipment to make it look like someone's shooting a movie. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so, and it's just, I can write about the ins and outs of it better than I could something I'm not so interested in. So while, yeah, writing a movie about a filmmaker maybe sounds cliche, the movie's not really about that. It's just about a person with a goal and them trying to overcome pretty much themselves to get to it, which is very relatable, hopefully, for everybody.
No, I completely agree. I mean, you know, not to kind of take out that filmmaking element, but I mean, if you were to kind of replace it with that kind of, you know, that early adult, you know, everyone can kind of deal with that moment in their life, and that's what I was saying before that I really related to in the script, where I'm like, yeah, I've been there. Like, I knew that kind of element where I'm like, okay, well, you know, I'm a film student, but, you know, with every single other filmmaker out there, there's at least one point in their life, if not many points, where you're just like, is this realistic? Am I really going to be able to do this? And whether you're a filmmaker or not, I think that everyone kind of goes through a similar dilemma like that.
Yeah, which is sucks, because it would be nice if everyone could just be like, this is going to work out and everything's going to be awesome. But yeah, everyone has moments of doubt and frustration, and that's kind of what this movie is focused on. And then it's those moments and sort of how they can be preyed upon by outside forces, I guess.
No, for sure. So, I mean, not to give too much away, but, I mean, we kind of talked about, you know, the genesis of the idea behind this. I mean, you want to kind of talk a little bit about the horror elements, or, you know, what kind of brought you from this original idea to kind of incorporate it into the horror genre, or kind of movies that you were inspired by? I know that's a lot of questions there, so you can just run with it wherever you want.
No, yeah, you know me. I can talk. I think that I really wanted to make a movie about murder. Like I wanted to make a movie about a character who's killing people, but I'm trying to think of how to say it. A character who's killing people, but you're kind of sympathetic to their situation, if that makes any sense. Not
for sure.
a serial. And the thing, man, I have like a million things in mind, but the thing that's really jumping to mind as far as influences is particularly the scene in Alfred Hitchcock's Rear Window when Lisa, or Grace Kelly, is in the apartment of the murderer, and L.B. Jeffries, Jimmy Stewart, is watching her from his apartment, and then the murderer comes home, and those moments of suspense where it's like, oh shit, you know what I mean? That's sort of something that was really a big influence. And I want to make something that's got like cat and mouse. You know what I watched a lot when I was working on the end of the screenplay was the last 25 minutes or so of Blade Runner, which is a movie I've never really liked, but in the last 6 months I've watched like 10 times and really dig it now, particularly the last 25 or 30 minutes. But, I mean, there are influences all over the place. I reread Stephen King's Salem's Lot, which I've always loved. It's been my favorite book for, like, ever. And it's not a vampire movie, but there's stuff in that, just, like, scary, like, horror and suspense stuff in that kind of influence things that are in this movie.
No, that's awesome. Indiegogo, we got some awesome rewards on there. What kind of rewards do you have for the backers out there?
Well, we've got right now, I mean, there's the typical things like, you know, just thank yous and shout outs on social media. We got where you can get your name in the end credits if you give a certain amount of money. Of course, if you donate a certain amount, you'll get a link to watch the movie when it's finished. There will be DVDs of the movie to some people. We're also going to give away copies of Dismembering Christmas along with copies of The Producer when it's finished. We'll have some posters, and there will be actually T-shirts, because that's something I really want to do is make shirts for the cast and crew. And if you donate $500 or more, you get a producer credit on the film.
No, that's awesome. That's really exciting. Some really cool rewards out there. How far are you along right now with the campaigning?
The campaign right now has about a month to go, just under a month, I think. And we're 28% of the way. We have, 28% of the goal with under a month to go, which is pretty cool, actually. I'm happy with where it's at right now.
No, I mean, it's definitely a big chunk of the way there. So you talked a little bit before, when does this campaign end? And when, I mean, if everything goes according to plan, everything kind of by the numbers, you got everything good to go, when do you plan on shooting it?
The campaign ends on July 12th. So yeah, literally just under a month by a couple days there. And the plan right now is to shoot in August. Whether that's going to be the first half or the second half of August, we're not sure yet. But August is going to be when we shoot. That's the last time we can shoot because some of the cast and crew will be gone by September.
How long are you looking for your production, the shoot? I mean, you're planning on doing that kind of one straight shoot, right? Just all at once?
Yeah, that's
just get it done?
I initially was thinking of shooting it a little bit at a time, kind of a weekend to week, or day to day rather than weekend to weekend, because just with schedules and everything, that's, you know, sometimes easier to manage. When we did Dismembering Christmas, everyone was on location at the cabin for the solid 2 weeks, so there wasn't anything to worry about. But when everyone's home in LA, then, you know, they have other things to do. And because the movie's so low budget, it would have to be in spare time. But it's looking like we're going to hopefully be shooting a solid couple of weeks, probably, you know, like 14 days or something, which I think we had 13 on Dismembering Christmas, with one day kind of off. But I'm hoping to do the same, at the very least, have the same amount of days.
Now, for that, are you planning on shooting everything like around where you live, or I mean, you said that you have some of the cast and crew figured out. Are they all local, or are they just kind of from wherever?
Yeah, trying to find people around LA. We're still rounding out some of the cast. Yeah, we're still rounding out some of the cast. We'll be shooting mostly around just Los Angeles. I don't think we'll be venturing very far out of LA. Trying to keep it like in the family in terms of everyone working on the movie, friends and close people close to friends of mine, you know, and keep it just sort of in the area, shoot in places we know and stuff like that.
No, it's awesome. So with the kind of movie, you already said for some of the backers, you're going to have DVDs and T-shirts and everything of that jazz. When do you plan on having the movie? I mean, if everything goes according to plan, you know, knock on wood, when do you hope to have the movie like completed by, where people will be able to check it out? And then also, kind of as a two-part question, what do you plan on doing with the film once it's complete?
Well, I hope to have the movie done. I hope to have it done by December, just so that, you know, by the end of the year we finish the movie and the people involved can see it, and hopefully even the backers can see it in December. But you know how that can be. Sometimes editing takes longer. And then what we're going to do with the movie after it's complete is I'm hoping to submit it to festivals and stuff, because I really am like kind of excited about it and confident in it that it'll be something that like could, you know, people would enjoy, and so I want to put it out there. So that's probably the route I'm going to take, is put it into festivals, and I'm not entirely sure like where exactly I would do that yet. I'm just trying to get the movie made first, you know. So hopefully by by fall, when the movie's coming together in editing, I'll start working on that.
Oh, very cool. So, I mean, you talked a little bit before about kind of the horror elements of this, and I know that this is something that you don't particularly like to do, and it's not something that is. But if you had to sell this movie in a tweet, or sell it as a blank meets blank for just somebody who is just kind of glancing at the movie, what would you say, or how would you sell it?
Oh, man. You know, a lot of times I can do the blank meets blank pretty easily, actually. With this one, though, oh, man, I don't know. That's really difficult. I mean, essentially, it's a movie about a character who is trying to follow their dream and achieve a goal that they have, and kind of grow up a little bit, and it sort of sends them down a darker path, and they start getting involved with some kind of shady characters, and things take a turn for the worst and kind of nightmarish. I guess that would be in a tweet how I would describe it. But yeah, something meets something else. I'm having a hard time coming up with titles for some reason. No,
I mean, as I was kind of reading the script, I was kind of trying to do that myself, and you know, it's very hard because you can see kind of, you know, elements here and there that, you know, there's definitely, you know, inspired by, or, you know, there's, you know, an element of like Starry Eyes to this, but yeah, it's very interesting, the fact that I think that this is something kind of unique, but at the same time, this is something that is relatable, and those are kind of two personality traits of the script you don't often see together. Usually it's like, okay, well, this is fun. It's like blank meets blank. And I think that's kind of what is most interesting and the most fun that I had with reading this, was that this is one of the few scripts that as I was reading, like I said, like I almost didn't even want the horror to start. And then also once the horror started, I didn't I had no clue where it was going to go, and then it kind of, I'm not going to give away anything, but the ending happened. I'm like, oh, wow. Like, I actually was like, that was really interesting. I really like that. So I think that people are really going to enjoy it quite a bit.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I think it's going to be cool. I think it's going to be relatable for people. And, I mean, the big thing is that I hope people really get into the characters and that they, like you said, you didn't want the horror to start. And I kind of hope that when the horror does start, people, want to see the characters get out of it and don't want to see it get any worse for them.
No, for sure. I mean, that's kind of exactly where I came from with the script, and I mean, I don't normally kind of do that. I'll sit down and I'll be like, okay, well, I'll read the script, and I usually end up doing it in kind of 2 or 3 chunks. But this one I did it all at once, and I'm just like, okay, well, that was really interesting. Like, I really like that. And then at the same time, it's good. Like, people are really gonna like that. I don't really know how I would sell it myself. So I mean, I think that you kind of did a good job of kind of bringing that across to the listeners out there. So if people want to find out more information about this film, where can they go online and where can they become a backer?
Well, okay, so we have the Facebook page, which is facebook.com/theproducermovie. And then there is the Twitter page, which is I believe it's at the producer film, because movie didn't fit. At the producer film. There's an Instagram as well, which should be at the producer movie. And then the Indiegogo page, which is you can find a link to it on all of the social media for the movie, but the Indiegogo page itself is indiegogo.com/projects/the-producer. And that's where you can donate, become a backer, and help us out, which would be awesome.
Yeah, fantastic. So, I mean, we still have a couple of minutes left before our podcast runs at a time, at 30 minutes. So, I mean, kind of one last kind of shout out. I mean, if people were kind of on the fence as to whether or not they wanted to become a backer on this project, what would you tell them? What would be kind of your way to sell this film to that person? And then also, why should somebody pick this film to back as opposed to another one?
Well, we're actually working on a campaign video right now to put on the Indiegogo, so that hopefully that'll help people who are on the fence. But I mean, I would say that it's worth donating to this film because I mean, there's going to be a lot of really talented people involved. I'm going to be working with a lot of people that I've known for years but haven't gotten to make anything with. And it's kind of all going to come together this time, and it's going to be like a really cool, exciting thing. But I think it's just a good story, honestly. And at the end of the day, if it doesn't have that, then it's like, what is it, But I think that this movie's going to be a really good story. Like I said a million times, I think it's going to be relatable, and I think because people will be invested in the story and find it relatable, it'll be scary because of that, and it'll be very suspenseful. And so, I mean, I'm not going to say, like, donate to us instead of other movies because other movies suck, but I think this is going to be a cool movie. Not that other ones aren't. It's just that this one will be worth your time.
No, for sure. It's definitely unique. So you said that you do have some of the cast and crew already lined up. When you kind of start doing announcements for the people that are going to be involved with the film?
Yeah, I'm going to start doing. I was actually going to do that today, but I think tomorrow I'm probably going to announce the first person. I guess I can tell you one person who's going to be in the movie. I've been talking to Baker, who was in Dismembering Christmas, and he's going to be playing a role in the movie of one of the villains.
Fantastic. Yeah, he was great to work with, so I can't wait to see him in that kind of a role.
Yeah, it's going to be really cool. I'm excited. I kind of actually had him in mind the whole time I was writing the script, hoping that he would be interested, and he seems to be. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited about that.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, I cannot wait. I think this is going to be a really great project, and I'm really kind of excited to be involved with it. So Austin kind of gave the shout out to where you guys can find the stuff on social media. If you guys are listening to this on Blog Talk Radio, there will be links underneath it to check out the Indiegogo page. If you're listening to this on Pleasure Studios, there will be a link also to the Indiegogo page. If you're listening to this on iTunes, just click on the Blog Talk Radio link. You're right to the Indiegogo page. So no matter where you're listening to this online, you should be able to check out the movie and check out the campaign, because it's definitely one that you're not going to want to miss. So any kind of last words you have for everyone out there, Austin?
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate if anyone goes and takes a look at the campaign and donates, follow the movie. I really think it's going to be really cool. I think people will enjoy this one. And I don't know, I'm really excited about it. Like usually I'm just full of nervousness. And I mean, I'm nervous obviously, but I'm pretty confident with this one. So I'm pumped.
Nope. Yeah, I think people are really going to love it, and it's going to be one exciting film. And so, put it on your radar. Become a backer, share it with friends. Just get the word out, because that's really kind of what indie filmmaking is about. So best of luck to you. I know this movie is going to be a huge hit, so I can't wait to have everyone out there watch it, and hopefully they'll become backers as well. So thanks for calling in, Austin. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thanks for having me, man.
Oh, yeah, I'll talk to you later, and you guys have a horror-filled night. Bye.